What are we doing? We are going to make something out of that. What are we going to make? Something that can pull that with a barrel train. So this is the idea. Well, not exactly. But we will pull it with that, right? 5/8 inch hole, an eye bolt. So what I'm going to do is drop this down. I'm only going to drop it down this far because I want it to stick out as far as possible. So I'm going to bring this all the way down to there, and I'm going to use a washer in there. Alright, so we're going to use a little bit of thread locker. Stick that in there like so. 1 to 2 threads showing down here. Right there is perfect. I'm just going to go ahead and cinch that down now. So it's a blue 55-gallon drum that I bought at Tractor Supply, and I also bought a dolly, and that was Lucy showing off her fake braces. So what I did was I paneled it off with some blue painter's tape just to get a sense of the balance of how big I wanted to go. I really didn't know any of the measurements. I was just kind of eyeballing it, and then once I figured out a good sense of how big I wanted it to be, then I just took and drew a line across with a white Stabilo pencil. Then I started to panel off from front to back and then side to side, trying to get the measurements correct, or as close as I could. And then I had to figure out like how I was going to do the curve of this thing, because I wanted it to be curved. I didn't want it to be just totally linear. So voila, I'm using a Sabian cymbal. And then once Lucy saw that, she decided that it was time to headbang. So I continue marking this off, and then I'm going to use a jigsaw. But first I got to drill holes in this thing. But first, Lucy's wants to dance. Alright, so I do a pilot hole, and after the pilot hole, then I switch to a bigger bit size. I'm just trying to make holes around the perimeter so that I can get the jigsaw blade in there, which worked perfectly. I'm using a Festool jigsaw, which I've had for, I think it's called the Carvex. I've had it for years and I love it. And it just cuts like butter. That could actually be used as a seat back if you wanted to. So Lucy wants to try it, so we stick her in there. But the barrel's not like connected yet to anything, so I have to like get her out easily so she doesn't fall off, because that barrel is just rolling around. More about these fake braces. But I want to tell you about that deburr tool. I went around and deburred the whole thing. Then after that, I got like the stuff that you use for insulation for PVC pipe, and I just put that around it. You'll see that in a later part of the video. So I drilled the same eye hook in the back of the dolly, and it holds the barrel on. Plus it could make, if I make a second one, that now it's really like a train car. I'll probably eventually do it. Lucy helped with that. We tightened it down. So I use these to secure it. I used 3. I put 1 on each side and then 1 in the middle. I kept changing my mind about how I wanted to do this hitch. There's many ways to do a hitch. I didn't want to over-engineer it, but what I did was I wound up making a bushing out of a piece of PVC connector. Right there it is. So it would fit in there and be able to turn but not be, locked down all the way. I used a bolt at first, but then I found a pin later, and that worked better. So this was like the first iteration of that. It's okay. I had the bolt upside down so I could see there. I showing you that I got a longer one too. There you can see that PVC insulation that I used. So this was the first one, the first try, and then one of the neighbor kids. So this was the second version that I put on there with a bigger washer on there. And a pin is actually through there. So it's got a cotter pin through there. And it was drizzling a little bit. I put a piece of 2x6 across there and just glued some foam to it. And then I used one of those headlamps, a cheap one, and I just turn it on, you know, blinking, so when we're driving around the neighborhood, people can see it. And that's it, man. There it is. You can see a close-up of that setup that I used, which was fine. You know, I was trying to keep it down and dirty, not get like too overcomplicated with this. But I was just trying to make it where it was cheap and affordable and just fun to make. And then that to Jude driving and the two of the neighbor kids. The little girl's name is Sophie. The little boy's name is Gio. And that's it. Hope you enjoyed it.